Hello, Rimfire friends. Today is November 18th, 2022. It's a Friday, actually, so happy Friday to all. On the table here, I have a newly acquired rifle, and I was pretty excited to show it to you guys. This is a 1983 Anschutz Model 1403, 64 action. What makes this one a little bit more special than the typical 1403, which I've had before, which are pretty special rifles. They're pretty cool, don't get me wrong. Which makes this one a little bit different and a little bit more rare is that as a factory repeating version. Now, I have never seen in person one of these repeater versions. I've seen pictures online, of course, and there's even a gentleman who has an excellent video. I'll link it in the description of him practicing with one because he uses it in competition. Very cool, because that's exactly what this rifle was meant for. So what exactly is a 1403 Anschutz? Well, the original single shot ones and the repeater were marketed as a lighter weight to make different weight requirements in different countries and different organizations for smaller shooters, junior or whatever, smaller stature rather. So it has a slightly shorter length of pull, and it originally was offered with, I believe, 4 spacers. This one only has 1, but they're still currently available from Anschutz. So this was like a kind of like a smaller, downsized target rifle based on the 64 action. Now, the reason that's important to me is I don't like a heavy competition rifle like the Bruno and the CZ only top out with scope around 11 pounds. So for me, 8.65 pounds or whatever it was is pretty good, because by the time you put a scope on it and whatever, you're pretty much the weight of the other rifles. So that suits me just fine. Now, the gun itself is in excellent condition for its age. I did clean it up a little bit in the shop. There is the typical, this is a beach stock, there is the typical wear point at the high marks on the edges. Stippling is in excellent condition, with just, typical wear here and there. Even on the bottom, it's not too bad. The rail is actually excellent and looks barely, if at all, used. And like the little character marks on it don't bother me, because it's not a bench gun where it comes in out of the case and lives on the bench. This would have been a competition rifle, in out of the rack and on the ground and that sort of thing. So a little bit of wear is certainly acceptable in my mind. So I mentioned that this is a 64 action and has the typical attributes of a 64 action from the period. Try to get the different marks for you guys. The date code indicates 1983, like I said, which makes this a West German Anschutz. I stopped here to show you guys, this is where the bolt release would be. Now, when I purchased this online, I purchased this from a vendor I've bought several rifles from in the past, all kind of similar to this. And purchased this online, was super excited to get it. I feel the price I paid was pretty reasonable. So I get it to my door, take it out of the box. See, there's a problem. This is the 509X series trigger. They made 5091, 2 to 4, I believe. They all come in different pull weights and single stage or dual stage. This is the dual stage version, or 2-stage trigger rather. And it has a bolt release on the side. This one's missing. The whole assembly is missing from the trigger housing. So the only way for me to get this bolt out is to take the action out of the stock, press the serial release with the trigger, and it'll come out. So right now, currently, I can't remove the bolt without taking out the stock. Now, I'm in the middle of fabricating one, and that'll be featured in another video. Otherwise, I'll show that to you guys. I would have showed you guys that now, but I'm in the middle of doing that. Also, somebody decided they wanted to turn this into a single stage trigger, so they epoxied a nut and a set screw. In the trigger housing to take up that first stage by threading in the screw, and also removed a spring and a screw from the original trigger setup, which were missing. So I removed all that epoxy in that set screw and fabricated a screw and a spring to bring it back to being a 2-stage trigger. Now, I'm all about tuning and home gunsmithing if you can do it, but that's not the correct way to do it. And the epoxy is not a solution in this case, because if that comes loose into your trigger, if you're in the middle of a match, that would be awful. So I removed that right away and brought it back up to where it should be. Still not finished, which is of course what I'll go over later in the video. Now, you can't find parts for these easily, but you can find the exact two-stage trigger housing here in Canada. It's about $375, so I could replace the whole thing with a factory fresh trigger, and Anschutz still makes it and supports it. Away you go, we'll be back to where we were. But for that amount of money, I would rather get a modern 64 match trigger. They're nicer, adjustable trigger shoot, lower pull weight. So if I'm going to go that route in the future, it would probably be a nicer trigger. I'm going to wait and see how it actually shoots before doing that sort of thing, but it's certainly within the realm of possibility. One of the cool things about Anschutz 6454s, same with CZs, is the support that they have and the aftermarket parts available for it. But anyway, the trigger's really good right now. It lets off at about a pound, and like I said, I've fully tested it for function and all that. And the actual function of the trigger and the bolt stop and all that are not compromised. It's still, the trigger itself is fine. It's just somebody tried to make it something it was not. Anyway, so that's something I'll be showing you guys later. But otherwise, it's such a beautiful rifle. There's actually very little wear inside. You can see there, for those of you who've had one of these before. The 64s, I mean, are very, the bolt is very smooth, nice and clean, no rust issues like some of the spotting issues like the 64s have. I'll try to do this here. The magazine release works absolutely excellent. Falls right out. The magazine is excellent. Very nice. So anyway, I thought I'd show this this cool rifle to you guys. Like I said, I've never seen one before in person, and I'm looking forward to putting it through its paces on Sunday with one of our practice sessions. And I got some plans for this, so it'll be kind of like its debut maiden voyage. Can't wait to see how it shoots. But anyway, I thought I'd show you guys a new toy. Excellent bluing, like I said. There's a little bit of like case wear at the muzzle, but no big deal. But otherwise, the bluing is just really nice. So anyway, like I said, I thought I'd show you guys. Any questions or comments, leave them below and I'll do my best as always to answer them. But if not, I'll catch you guys at the next one.